Today we're gonna tackle the age-old, one of the most contested questions in all of VoiceOver. Should you process an audition file, like master it, or not? Should you just send it raw? Stay tuned to find out. Hi, I'm Jesse Carroll, professional voice actor and coach, and I just want to take a second to say Happy New Year. Hope you had a good one, and thank you so much to everybody that's been subscribing and commenting and liking my videos. It's been crazy. When I started this channel, I had almost no subscribers, and it took me about 6 months just to break 100 subscribers. And in the last 2 months, I've gotten over 200. I think right now we're sitting at, 395 subscribers, and by the time this video comes out, it's looking like I'll probably have 400. So thank you so much to everybody that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. It's what keeps me going. Without you guys, I wouldn't make these videos. I'd just be talking into a camera like a crazy person. Okay, so today we're talking about processing audition files. Should you do it or should you not do it? This is one of the questions that's been asked probably more than anything that I get. There's no straightforward answer to it. I'm sorry, I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't really. The answer is, it depends. You know, here's the thing. Actually just talking about this with a friend of mine who's another pro VO, and he's actually got more credits than I do. He's done more than I've done. He never, ever processes any of his audition files. He just sends them raw. That's what he does. Now, I've tested it. That's how when I make a decision, I want to test things. And everybody's voice is different. Some people might need no processing. They might have a brilliant voice. In fact, processing might make their voice sound too good. Might make it sound too much like an announcer, like a radio voice, that kind of thing. Some people, their voice is just good to go the way it is. Now, I tested mine without processing and with processing. I've gotten work without processing, but by far, I do get more work with processing on it. Now, here's the thing. I don't put a lot of processing on it. I put the bare minimum. That's it. And I don't do it myself. See, here's the thing. A lot of people, when they get into voiceover, they want to learn everything about audio engineering. They spend a lot of time doing it. Now, I'm not saying that that's pointless. What I'm saying is, sure, if that's what you want to do, you want to learn that stuff, go for it, but hire a professional to do your processing for you. Because no matter how much time you spend learning audio, unless you go to audio engineering school and you're working on it all the time and it's your job, you're never gonna be as good as George the Tech and Jordan Reynolds. Those are two of the main guys in the voiceover world that do processing for you. So if you're interested in getting processing done or just getting a consultation to see if you even need to do anything, talk to those guys. I'll put a link to both their websites in the description below, so check it out. That's the best thing that you could do. If you have a question like, should I put processing in my audition file or not, talk to one of those guys, because they'll tell you if you should put any, and then they'll tell you how much you should put on, and they'll do it for you. It takes all the guesswork out of it. I'm a big fan of saving time, and why learn to do something yourself, which will take forever? It will take a long time, and you still won't be as good as somebody who does it professionally, you know? Save the time, spend the money. I think it's a few $100 last time I checked to work with either of those guys, and they'll set you up with a few processes, and you're good to go. So for my auditions, yes, I do process them, unless I'm told not to at all. I have a different processing chain for each style of audition that I'm doing. So if I have an animation or video game audition, I have a process for that. And it's almost nothing. There's almost nothing on it. When I'm doing a radio commercial, I have a process for that. When I'm doing an e-learning or a corporate narration where they want it to sound supernatural, I have a process for that. Each one is designed to do a specific thing. I do sometimes use kind of an all-arounder, but usually when I've got time, I'll do a process that's specific for the audition that I'm doing, especially if it's coming from my agent and you know it's a large budget audition and there's a lot at stake. I'll make sure that I use the correct processing chain for that I didn't set up myself. George and Jordan did. So I think the closest thing that I have to a process that's kind of an all-arounder that I probably use the most is a chain. It's very light on the processing, but it's got a lot of stuff on it. So here's how I set my chain up. What I have is I have an Apollo Twin audio interface, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically it's an interface that has a lot of plugins that you can put into it that emulate the sound of classical processors or compressors and preamps. And I've got a bunch of different ones. So I won't list them all because I've got too many, but what I've got for, I guess what you would say was my main processing chain, what I've got on there is I have, and this is set up, this is a combo that was actually, this is like a Frankenstein combo processor that I took from elements that Jordan set up for me. and George set up for me. So if you guys are watching this, you're both awesome. I just wanted to put the best of what you guys did for me into one, and it works. It's so good. So for the first part of my processing chain, what I have is a Manley VoxBox preamp. And I'm not gonna tell you all the specifications for what I set them to because it doesn't matter, because my voice is different from yours. And again, these were set up by George and Jordan separately. So it's designed for my voice only, not yours. So Manley VoxBox, it's good for me because it really brings out the textures of my voice. I've got high tones and low tones, and it really brings out the texture in those low tones. It works really well. And again, there's very minimal stuff put on there. I'd say the compression is maybe 4:1. And if you don't know what that is, Google it, 4:1 compression. It's probably the most amount of compression that you can put on a voice in a single compressor and still make it sound natural without it getting too commercially or announcery. It just brings the bottom parts, the lower sounding parts of your voice, brings them up so everything's just a little bit more level and it sounds louder without increasing the volume all the way up. And that's as far as I'm gonna get into that. Next up, after the Manley VoxBox, I've got a C-Suite CVox denoising plugin. It's basically what it is. The cool thing about this, Jordan Reynolds actually introduced me to this. It's part of the Apollo suite of plugins. You can only get this if you have an Apollo, as far as my knowledge is. It works in real time. So if you've got, like if you live in New York City like me and you've got, you know, heating and air conditioning that's kind of going off in the far background all the time, you can put this thing on in real time. So if you have even a Source Connect session, you can turn all your processors off and all your preamps off like they'll tell you to do, except for that one. And you can put it on just enough that it gets rid of the heating noise in the background and gets rid of the AC noise in the background. And they won't even know it's on, so it's perfect. So thank you, Jordan, for introducing me to that. And I'll tell you another reason why I had that on in a second, besides the fact that I live in New York and I have a heater or AC going all the time. The next up is a precision channel strip, and that was set up by George. I used his processor for that one. And then after that, I have the Teletronics LA2A limiter, and that's very minimal. That one was also set up by George. And the precision de-esser set up by Jordan, because I got sibilant S's, especially with the 416, which you can't really see, it's just sitting right there. That mic, if you have sibilant S's, it can really bring out the sibilants in those. I'd like to use a U87 or a TLM 103, but I can't really in the apartment that I have because it's so sensitive, it'll pick up what other people are doing in the apartments beside me. So the 416 is the best mic for my apartment. Not necessarily for my voice, I know I've talked about that, it's for my apartment, the situation I'm in, because it eliminates a lot of the background noise. It just works like a shotgun mic. Go see my mic video if you want to know more about how that works. So that's essentially it. Manley VoxBox that was set up by Jordan. C-Suite CVox that Jordan told me about and I just set it up to my own parameters. The Precision Channel Strip set up by George the Tech, and Teletronics LA2A set up by George the Tech, and Precision de-esser set up by Jordan Reynolds. And that's, it sounds like a lot. It does, it sounds like a lot of stuff, but it is a lot of stuff, but very minimal on each one. And all it does is it makes my voice a little bit louder and a little bit more present, so it pops. When people listen to it, they don't go, whoa, that sounds like a radio commercial. They're like, oh, that sounds clean, present, transparent. It's good. It's a great process. So again, if you're interested in getting a processing chain done for your auditions or for your jobs, because when you're working, let's say pay to play or direct to client, sometimes they like you to do the processing for them. Get those from Jordan and George. You can try to do it yourself, but it will take you a lot of trial and error and it will take you a long time. You can work towards it, but initially I would just go to see those guys, pay the money, and then you have it. And you know you're good. There's no questions. You don't have to go, I wonder if I set that up rightly. No, or correctly, rightly, is that a word? No, you know it's good because it was set up by pros. So just go see them. And I hope that helps. If you're not sure about a processing chain, if you're not sure, if you can't afford to go see Jordan and George, just figure out the money. I don't know if you have to put it on layaway or whatever, work out a deal with them. I would definitely go see them to get a chain done if you want to use a chain. Other than that, just go raw. There are a lot of VO artists that do only raw auditions. They don't do anything to it besides maybe some minor noise removal, not really gating. You don't really need to do that. Gating, in fact, it makes it sound kind of weird. There's some VOs that have success with gating, but it's kind of like, the gate works like this, right? So like it opens and it lets all the sound in around you, and then it closes when you're not talking. So everything's dead silent, and then it opens it up, and if you can hear background noise while you're talking. It's just weird if you got headphones on, so I wouldn't gate. And it's kind of lazy too. Anybody gating? You are lazy if you're gating. Get a C-Suite, be lazier, do it professionally. Anyway, that's my rant, my take on whether you should process an audition or not. And the answer is, it depends. It really depends. I would go see the doctor, go see Jordan or George the Tech, Jordan Reynolds, the Audio Ninja, or George the Tech, and they'll tell you if you need a processing chain and how much you need on it, you know? They'll just make your voice sound just a bit better. Or just go raw, just go naked, just send it in like that. Also, the one thing I'll say is, here's how I test. When I'm gonna test something, what I do is I try it out for 2 weeks at a time, 2 solid weeks. I do all of my auditions, and you know how many I do a day, like 50, 60 a day, sometimes more, sometimes a little less. I will try that out. I'll try a new processing chain or a new way of working out for 2 weeks, and I'll see how the results trend. If I get more work, I keep doing it. If the work just drops off, I'll stop after 2 weeks. 1 week isn't enough because things can happen in a week where this could just be a bad week, but 2 weeks, that's a trend. And I'll stop after 2 weeks, I'll go back to doing what works, what I know works, and then a couple months down the road, I'll try it again. And if the second time, same results, my work goes down, or even just getting shortlisted or likes or whatever on my auditions, all trends down, then I know what I did didn't work. It's not working, at least not effectively as what I know works. So if you're gonna try out a new processor, try it out for 2 weeks at a time, or again, if you got it from Jordan Reynolds or George the Tech, you don't need to test it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be better than what you're already doing. But if you're using processors, you wanna try out raw for yourself to see if that books more, because maybe it'll make you sound more natural. You know, they always want that conversational, real, non-VO, non-announcer read these days. So if you wanna try and go raw, let's go naked, try it for 2 weeks and see which way it trends. Is it booking you more work or is it booking you less work? Don't just listen to people like me that are on YouTube, you know? I'm only speaking from what I know works for me. This may not work for you. Some of the stuff I'm saying might be absolute bullshit for you. It might steer you in the wrong direction, you know? Everybody's different. One thing you wanna do is take as much information you can from as many sources and test it. Test it all out, see what works for you, all right? So that's it, that is my rant. I know there's no definitive answer. Like a lot of things in voiceover, there just isn't. There's no hard and fast rules. You gotta test it for yourself. So if you like this kind of video, if you like this content, please like and subscribe, share it with somebody who might get some value out of this content. And if there's anything else you want me to cover, hit me up in the comments below. What do you have questions about? What do you want to know about voiceover work or the business of voiceover? Or if you want to know about how to do certain reads or whatever it is, hit me up in the comments below. If you've got questions, I might have some answers for you. Now, if you're looking to get into the world of voiceover and you have no idea where to start, I put a course together called the VoiceOver Jumpstart course. Check out the description below, I'll put a link to it. Also, if you're already got your booth set up and you kind of know what you're doing in voiceover, I can help you that way. There's many different ways to work with me. Book a free consultation, the link's below, or check out my website. And until then, we will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.